I mean, I don't know what the aim of the hacker was. Maybe it's just to expose these people, or maybe it's to screw up the lives of 13,000
Maybe he or she never studied for exams. He's like,
they just screw everyone. Yeah.
I fucking haven't done anything. I'm just going to screw up and level the playing field.
Yeah.
Before the next episode of the Yalabat podcast, here's a message about Tell You First, our latest series. Now, you clearly love podcasts. And you're also clearly smart. I mean, you're listening to this, right? So if you want something else that is as entertaining, educational, and edgy, check out Tell You First, our new podcast series. In every episode, Terrence and I dive into mind-blowing topics you never knew you needed to know, with a touch of good old humor and that Singaporean flavour. But only one of us knows the details, while the other is clueless. Perfect for comedy and learning, of course. So go ahead and click on the link in our bio or search for the Tell You First podcast on the Me Listen app, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And now, on to the podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How's the week going, man?
Okay. It's okay. And then leading up to National Day, I think everywhere you go, you're hearing National Day songs. And there's just a lot of buzz around.
But do you feel like it's National Day? I know you asked me that last week, but like every time I remember that it's National Day this week, I'm like, oh shit. It doesn't feel like it.
Does it feel like it's National Day? Yeah, it does feel like it's National Day.
Why?
Maybe my son's school is going to have celebrations.
Okay.
And things like that lah. And generally everyone's wearing red.
But are you seeing a lot of flags being hung?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Really?
At least where I frequent lah.
The houses or the estates itself?
The estates, yeah.
Because actually houses, I see not many flags, no.
But maybe, as Madonna says, you only see what your eyes want to see lah.
She said that.
She sang that in the song. Yeah. Maybe you are like very anti National Day parade, and you're not a real patriot lah.
Why you casting aspersions?
Because you only see what your eyes want to see lah. You don't want to see people celebrating and enjoying and having fun.
No, but like literally, even this morning, as I was walking out of my house, I saw the building. I'm like, maybe 1 or 2 flags being hung. Yeah.
But maybe all of them are coming in that spirit that you're having lah. The Grinch that stole the NDP lah.
Oh, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, Terrence.
No, I didn't. I'm very optimistic.
Yeah,
and happy.
Why immediately shitting on my patriotism?
Because we are literally days away. I mean, I feel there's been a lot lah. There's a lot out there. In fact, I'm almost like, okay, I'm done with National Day songs already. Yeah.
But just because I don't see it in front of me doesn't mean I'm not patriotic. Right?
Okay. No, but I mean, I think also in our latest episode of Tell You First, on the site, you state up front that National Day National Day parade was never a thing for you, right? You never attended.
Yeah, never attended.
Even as a child or anything.
No, never performed as part of a school or anything.
Yeah, I also never performed, but I've attended a couple of times.
Through school?
No, outside of school, even as an adult and all. So I feel more of the spirit lah.
Oh, is it? Oh, you're enlightened. You're enlightened, is it?
Yeah. So I'm just what I'm doing is just backing up my accusation of aspersions, casting aspersions on you. We've actually a documented podcast where you actually talked about how NDP is not a thing for you lah.
See, but this is exactly the issue with the POFMA that was issued lah. At no point did I say I'm not patriotic or that I don't appreciate National Day.
Yeah.
But you are just assuming that because I haven't been there, I don't appreciate that. I never watched the Malaysia Cup game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. But doesn't mean I don't love Singapore football.
You go on and on about it a lot lah.
Yeah. So I refute your attempted character POFMA lah.
No, I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth. I was making a judgment call that you are unpatriotic. That's all.
Yeah, you were casting aspersions. Correct, which I would like to point out is grossly inaccurate. Grossly inaccurate.
Yeah. No. I mean, but there are people who are posting pictures of the HDB blocks with only one Singapore flag in the whole block.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, okay, for me, actually, I'm more like there are things happening in Singapore, like the parliament and politics and all that now. Even the topic we're talking about that makes people like, a bit like irritated lah, right? Miffed, whether it's a income alliance thing.
Yeah.
whether what we're going to talk about next. People a bit irritated with I don't know, the system.
The system, yeah, correct.
Maybe that's why you don't feel that sense of like excitedness to celebrate National Day.
Again, you're assuming I'm not excited, Terrence.
I'm saying you don't sense it. I'm not saying that
I
you're
don't
not
sense
excited.
it, but inside, I tell you, butterflies in my stomach. No,
You're wearing red. You're bleeding red and white.
Bleeding red and white, exactly. Don't just anyhow say I'm not excited. I mean, it's a nice day for a public holiday, Friday, right? And I probably will watch part of the parade, lah.
Yeah. It's a big nice feature, lah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've come to really appreciate it as a very uniquely Singapore thing around the world. And if you're new to Singapore, you don't know anything about Singapore, it's one of the things that we'd be like, okay, like our zoo, like our gardens by the bay and all that, and National Day Parade is something also to be quite proud of.
And I mean, like, we might actually have Olympic medalists around the time of National Day, which is Maximilian Mader.
Oh, he's literally competing?
Yeah, he's literally competing. Okay. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
If because I remember Joseph Schooling also last time he won it. It was around National Day time.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, which is why there was a added oomph.
I thought you meant Joseph Schooling was going to be at National Day Parade or what.
I mean, he probably. I mean, if he pops by, I wouldn't be surprised.
Now he's making his rounds, as a very trusted member of the establishment, right? Yeah.
Confirm already, establishment.
I mean, he's at events and appears in TikToks and photos with ministers and stuff like that, right?
But don't make a judgment call, Terrence.
So
just because he appeared pictures,
you'll be enjoying NDP on Friday alongside everyone else.
Exactly.
That's good, that's good. It's a step forward, Maybe next time, like, you can attend NDP and feel the spirit, right?
Actually, why not? Why not, man?
Yeah.
Suddenly I end up hosting.
That's a dream, right?
No,
that's the dream.
I think even if I had that dream, I think it's too it's probably I'm way down the pecking order,
But it's a smaller pecking order, This is like the ethnic integration policy where
that's true.
Yes, it is.
It's a smaller pool.
Group, smaller pool to choose from, right?
Smaller pool of potential eyes, Whereas the sea is fucking saturated already.
Yeah, correct.
The eyes, I can even count on my finger.
There's zero hope for me to ever host National Day because there's a million other Chinese people.
I mean, like, looking at Hazelle, Sonia Chu, Terrence, I'm like,
exactly. Whereas for the eye, I think there's a few names in front of you, yes.
Yeah,
but you are somewhere in the discussion.
That's true. It's like the Ballon d'Or. You don't win the Ballon d'Or, but in contention.
Correct. Yeah.
That's true.
That's why.
The ethnic integration quota
is still reachable for you. It's still reachable. For me, it's like, forget it.
That is true. That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So ahead of National Day, we're going to be talking about something that was discussed. No, not discussed in Parliament, but like a very unfortunate thing earlier this week for a certain group of Singaporeans.
Yeah.
But before we do that, Terrence, what's our regular spiel?
Yeah. Welcome to the Yellowbud podcast. I think there's a lot of people who are new here. And if you're watching the video, this is what we look like as well. Smile. And then, if you're new here, please follow, like, subscribe, share the videos on WhatsApp or wherever your communities are, or even just tell one person about it. Because I feel that our podcast can bring some joy, smiles, laughter, thoughtfulness into your life. Sometimes anger, sometimes racism and things like that as well into your life. And share it with someone else. It'll mean a lot to us as well.
And if you want to work with us in any way, shape or form, you can check us out at ministryoffunny.com and leave us a message over there.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right, cool.
Yeah. Well, this topic, when I first saw the headline, I thought it was about some mobile game.
Mobile game.
You had the same thought.
Or Mobile Legends, Mobile Guardians sounds like
a game.
Like it's one of the characters in a Mobile Legends game or something.
But I think it's bringing a lot more grief to students than joy, right?
Yeah. And at first I saw it, I was like, okay, like this is just a small thing, but holy shit, man.
Yeah.
At the crux of it is that on August 4th, there was cybersecurity breach in the Mobile Guardian software that affected 13,000 students from 26 secondary schools in Singapore. So basically, for context, right, the Mobile Guardian is a device management app, which is DMA. And I mean, the term DMA is used kind of interchangeably with the MDM, which is mobile device management. Basically, it's a kind of software that allows parents and teachers to restrict the usage of the app in terms of what they're browsing and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And this is all installed in the personal learning devices that are given to students in Singapore. And because in Singapore schools, they issue iPads and Chromebooks. So basically, like, I think I only realized it when we went to speak at a school a few weeks ago that it is part of the learning.
Yeah, I think during COVID, it was accelerated.
Yeah, it was accelerated.
Yeah.
So now it's almost like last time you go to school, I guess you got your notebook, your notes, but now PLD, it's like a given. Right? So this is a software that is installed there. And yeah, it allows teachers to access it during school to make sure that the students are not doing anything shady, and at home the parents can access.
Yeah.
So basically, apparently, on August 4th, there was a breach, and the users reported either kind of being kicked out of the app, or kind of losing Wi-Fi, or just their device rebooting. So by the time it came back on, they realized that a few apps had disappeared.
Yeah.
Some of which were the note-taking apps. And a bunch of them, a number of them, had taken notes for like the past 4 years on that in the lead up to the O levels, and they lost everything because they didn't back it up.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. Of course, when you go on Reddit, when you hear accounts, some students did back it up. Some students did have hard copy notes, but there's a bunch who just had all their notes there. And this is O levels going on now, right? Or not yet?
Soon, not yet.
Soon. Oh, now it's prelims.
Now it's prelims, yeah.
Prelims. So there's enough accounts by students saying that they have lost everything. What the hell are they going to do? And is MOE going to do anything? So then I was like, oh shit, can you imagine in a country like Singapore where there's already so much emphasis on academics, you have been studying your ass off and then you lose everything.
Yeah, all your notes.
Holy shit.
And we come from an era where there was no such thing as personal learning devices, right?
Yeah.
For us, taking notes was literally pen and paper, right?
Yeah.
But now today, on our laptops and our computers and all that, we use everything digital. It's all digital, right? I don't even really use a notebook anymore.
But at one point you were, right?
I did, yeah. More for like, I did because I was quite romantic about the whole journaling thing.
I know.
Yeah.
When I tell you also last time, like, hey Terence, you just like, isn't it? No, Harish, I tell you, there's this thing called bullet journaling.
Yes.
The act of writing it down, it really clarifies my mind.
It does.
It helps me. Then fast forward.
Yeah. Fast forward. I still have a journal, and I literally I do use it to write, like journal sometimes. But I think for productivity, it's still, you have to go digital.
I also did have that thing. I tried the whole bullet journaling thing with arrows and all that. Yeah. And it worked while it did.
Yeah.
But then I found that once you get swarmed with shit, it's just faster to do it digitally.
Correct. But bullet journaling had the fun part was sort of customizing your own templates, right? And you get to color and do.
Oh, I didn't go. You went to that extent.
A little bit. I had different ways of writing stuff.
I remember Googling. I saw people really fucking go all out, man.
Yeah.
But that one, I was like, yeah. But I actually found like something writing, there is some benefit there, but it's just a bit slower.
But there is something that you learn when you actually write stuff down, like physically. As in it helps you process things. Yeah. So in some sense, today's kids and all, I think they lose that aspect of things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's much more convenient.
Yeah.
That they can access it all online and all. But again, the vulnerabilities of the digital economy are laid bare again.
Yeah. And I mean, like when you look at this, of course, the question is like, this was not backed up. And then the next question is, who the hell is Mobile Guardian? And then as you read more, basically, Mobile Guardian is a company that was founded in South Africa. It is used by schools all around the world. It was given the contract by MOE in 2020 with a middleman called GSA Private Limited. So, I mean, people are digging up all this because, of course, as you can imagine, a lot of people are like super pissed off.
Yeah.
But also seems like Mobile Guardian, I mean, even documented in recent times, there were already issues.
Yeah.
So on May 7th, there was another hack that affected about 67,000 parents and 22,000 school employees across 127 schools in Singapore. But that one was the hack allowed the hacker to view information of the customers lah. Then in July, there were also technical issues reported by students in at least 5 secondary schools. And this was more connectivity, access, and all. Nothing too terrible lah, until this one lah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the more you read about this, like what were some of the things that came to mind?
I think also I think I saw online, and it's made the news as well, that there's a post that claims someone actually warned MOE about the Mobile Guardian's vulnerabilities a couple of months before the hack. And he even provides screenshots of his email exchanges with MOE. And it didn't seem to go anywhere, right? Basically, it was just like, thank you for your feedback, we're checking, blah, blah. But yeah, the worst has happened. I don't know. I feel pretty bad for the students because it must be very stressful to suddenly lose 4 years of notes like that. And, you know, in the larger scheme of things as adults and all that, maybe it doesn't sound like a big deal. Then you're losing your okay, you lose your notes, but okay lah. I mean, you didn't get scammed, you didn't lose money or anything like that. You can just study again. But, you know, remember for young kids and students, all that, this is
the Olympics.
This is the Olympics of their life. You know? And we all know how important streaming is in Singapore and what our parents, you know, drill down to us to tell us that it's so important to ace your exams, or at least do your best for exams, right? And to suddenly lose everything and all, it's crazy. I'm sure it feels like the world's collapsing around them.
Yeah, because as much as you want to disagree with streaming and all that, it is the current system, right? How you do for your O-levels will have a huge part to play in what happens next. And for this to happen, and I mean, like, I think MOE has kind of said that, you know, they are providing roving IT teams to go to schools and help and all. But I can't even imagine what are they going to do to assist students who lost their notes. Because in COVID, I think there were some measures that okay, this is a once in a generation thing. Let's ease off the ruling or the scoring for exams, or they were given some policies change lah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember specifically, but I know basically like they were saying, okay, all of you can do this, all of you can do that, because we understand this is a something like a black swan event lah.
Yeah.
But in this case, where it's not every student is affected, I can't imagine them doing anything like. Are they going to give these people like a bit more time during the exam? No. Are they going to give them like some top up to their scores? No. So it really sucks for them, man.
Yeah. But I mean, does it make you feel like that there was something wrong in the process of choosing this vendor and everything? Because ultimately it's not even a Singapore company, right? It's overseas, and it seems to have it being installed in schools outside of Singapore, so around the world, internationally. I think 50 countries or something like that.
Yeah.
Could anything have been done better to try and mitigate this kind of problem?
That one don't know, yeah. Because I mean, from just reading like accounts online and all, there are other providers that are apparently more established, and apparently this one is not as widely used as that in Singapore. The Singapore market is their biggest market lah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's true or not.
Yeah.
But in the process of determining a vendor, right? Because in my previous life, when I was in aviation at Scoot, I mean, like I was leading the e-commerce team lah. So we had to deal with vendors, right? And the whole process during vendors, some of the best vendors we had were like local companies, you know, or like people who were still young and all. Some of the worst vendors were the ones that were so established. So I think it's because I see a lot of people saying, oh, who is the middle person, GSA? Why can't they work directly with Mobile Guardian? I mean, I don't know, but there are also reasons why you might want to work with an intermediary.
Yeah.
What about the tender process? Are they the cheapest and all? I don't know, man. I think it's a bit hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, some people are also saying like, how come MOE's response to, let's say, like this allegedly being alerted of these vulnerabilities, right? How come they didn't? Why didn't GovTech step in or something like that to deal with it, right? But I think ultimately it's very, very big bureaucracy, right? And even if you send an email to GovTech to look into something and all, there's no guarantee that it will be able to get to the MOE system in time, right?
Yeah.
And that's the tricky thing about these kind of like mass implementations of technology. There will be loopholes, there will be vulnerabilities. And it's unfortunate that it has. I don't know what the aim of the hacker was. Maybe it's just to expose these people, or maybe it's to screw up the lives of 13,000
Maybe he or she never studied for exams. Like,
they just screw everyone. Yeah.
I fucking haven't done anything. I'm just going to screw up and level the playing field.
Yeah. And then, maybe we don't know, because I don't think there's any like asking for any ransom or anything like that. And MOE, I think, is the one that is taking an active step of wiping it from all the devices going forward, right?
Yeah.
About Guardian. So it's I really don't know what more can be done, right? Other than maybe MOE having to step up an internal team who understands the technology.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing, right? Because I also saw some people commenting like, oh, why do we need to appoint an external vendor? Why can't GovTech, build the apps? Then why can't, like what you were saying is, how come they ask GovTech to step in? I mean, I think GovTech is not, say, the IT department of Singapore. It's not like, hey, I need IT help, go to GovTech. And I know there were also some mentions of how countries like China, I think they develop a lot of the software locally. Even you look at a company like ByteDance, they actually have a lot of software that they use within China. But I think just from a layperson, I think it comes down to like the market size. Like, you're going to develop a software just for the Singapore market. I mean, developing software is not cheap, man.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair also to say GovTech should do the whole technical infrastructure for Singapore. Because I think that's super tough.
Yeah.
So in this case, it just feels like, I mean, it's a shit show. I don't know what MOE can do. I think for the students, it really sucks. But
do you think like this is a sort of a warning shot that over reliance on digital services?
Oh, all the people say cashless.
We've already been there. We've already been there. That already happened last year with DBS, being down for like more than a day.
That's a good point. I think as much as we want to go smart nation and all, these kind of things are never going to be 100% foolproof.
Yeah. I mean, the sense is that you wanted to go smart nation, there will be someone who's smarter than your nation. Right? And a hacker who will find a loophole in it. And ultimately, I think having to do physical backups of your data is still one of at least the best things that you can do for yourself now, right?
Yeah. And I mean, maybe it is just like need to institutionalize backup. Like every Monday, right? The whole class, you all backup.
Yeah. It's like saying the pledge.
Backup period. Okay, everyone just click backup and you wait. No one do anything, but you back it up. Yeah, it's like saying the pledge. Last time school, when did we say pledge? Every day, is it?
Every morning, every morning.
There something that happened only once a week? No, right? The flag raising.
No, flag raising and all this every day. Maybe you have assembly once a week where you...
you say I'm not patriotic. I used to raise the flag and bring down the flag in school.
Oh, is it?
The flag was on my shoulder, at sunrise and at sunset.
I see. So you really bleed like...
I bleed right away.
No, but actually that's true. That like maybe institutionalizing the process of backing up to really teach the importance of understanding, what's the term? Digital hygiene, or just general. What was the term for like digital inclusion? Hygiene. Is it?
No, digital inclusion different.
I thought that was something we just talked about.
But digital inclusion
cyber
is
attacks and all that, right?
I think that's like cyberbullying and all.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I don't know. But basically...
Anyhow, just throw a buzzword or something.
I mean, now it's all about buzzwords, right? The MCI just changed its name to MDDI. In case you all didn't know, the Ministry of Communications and Information is no more.
Yeah, what is it?
It's now the Ministry of Digital Development and Information.
Ministry of MCI, there's no more. Communications and that last time it was information.
MCI,
Yeah, now it's MDDI, Ministry of
Digital Development and Information.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, I think it's actually a very important thing to teach people all these important habits of digital hygiene.
I mean, I guess, okay, so digital inclusion, the general definition is it refers to the efforts and initiatives aimed at ensuring that all individuals and communities, especially those that are disadvantaged, have access to and can effectively use IT technology. So there's access to technology, digital literacy, accessible content, participation, and engagement.
Yeah.
I think backup will be different.
Backup.
Maybe digital literacy, but so backing up, it's one of those things that really must institutionalize.
Yeah. And it's not 100% foolproof, even if you do it, because your drives can still fail and everything.
I mean, even on a personal level, right? Like, I use Google Photos, but I don't think like if you ask me, okay, I have an Apple phone. I know there's Apple Photos, there's Google Photos. I've set up like my own photos to be backed up to Google, but I don't actually know whether it's fully backed up. But even then, I got inertia to like, I don't have like once a month I back up shit.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any part of your life where you actively have to back up?
My photos. I take a lot of photos of my family, you know. So
well, but not on your phone lah.
Yeah, not my phone, yes. So I use iCloud lah. I back up to iCloud.
But do you actively kind of set a time to back up or just auto backup?
Auto backup. That's the beauty of iCloud lah.
And why iCloud and not Google Photos?
Because they give a bit more shit about your privacy, I feel. Yeah. Google Photos, I feel like I'm one finger tap away from releasing all my private information to the cloud.
Yeah. My one is inertial. I started using Google Photos when it was free. And then now I pay for like additional storage. But to migrate over, then I'm like, shit.
That's why there's a new movement now. Like now people are saying the most important accessory for photographers and all is to buy a photo printer and to just print whatever photos.
Really? There's a movement for that?
Yeah, more and more. At least for me, I noticed it from watching a lot of these photography channels and all. People are really getting into printing for photos again. Because they're saying that they take photos, they don't know what happens to these photos. They could just suddenly get lost one day, or your hard drive gets caught in a fire or a magnet comes close to it, then it just dies. And if you don't have any of those photos in front of you, you'll just never see them again. You might not even know what photos you have already. So they're saying like just when you have an occasion, once a month or once every few months, just print a photo book, print a bunch of photos, put them in albums like you used to. And the other plus side of that is that it becomes something physical that you can just take out once in a while and show your family and your children. It's something to bring up conversation, as opposed to like, if it's stored, even if it's stored in the cloud on your phone, you're not going to take it out in the middle of dinner and ask someone to start looking at all the photos and all that, right? So there's just as we move towards our cameras and our phones getting more and more powerful in capturing information, data, images, there actually is a movement towards like, how do we take that and bring it to the real world again, Yeah. So I think similar for data. So we need to think about, training our kids to maybe
write
again. Take notes again, use pen and paper. As much as, climate change is real and all that, like you don't want to cut down trees or paper, but there's something to the act of writing that I think is very important. Yeah.
I know whenever I write now, it feels like, what am I doing? Like, this feels so foreign. Like,
it's very weird.
What is going on?
But last time we used to write like multiple pages essays in one sitting, right? Like for exams, it's literally 3 hours of writing nonstop.
And you just get like 3 or 4 pieces of paper.
Yeah.
If you need more paper, you put up your hand.
Yeah.
Fuck, I cannot imagine.
And I remember I literally like would be having to do hand stretches because you need to write for 3 hours and your hands would be like dead by the end of those 3 hours.
Then because I'm left-handed, so my bottom part of the hand will be all blue.
Yeah.
Because of the ink and all.
Yeah.
Oh shit! And like you can see as they say 10 minutes left, you can see people like their whole body shaking also, right?
Or even like in university, I think like now the concept of like cheat sheets. They would allow you to write down like formulas or whatever on one piece of paper. They tell you one A4 paper, and you get really creative about it. You stuff like a whole year's worth of notes into one A4 size paper by writing in like the smallest font possible, or in shorthand that only you understand. So all those little tricks kind of like helped you get through life, right?
But you think that's just being like outdated? You're not growing with the times, no, Terrence. Now got ChatGPT,
Correct, but it doesn't. Once you start using those, then that portion of your brain that is able to process information that way is lost. And I think about it in terms of maps, right? For example, last time, I'm sure your uncles, your parents, or whatever, they knew directions a lot better than people today.
Insane, yeah.
Like we are addicted to Google Maps, to Waze or whatever apps you use. And if you ask me to go even like a very short distance from my place, a lot of times
to Google.
Maybe I know, but I'm not very sure, so I still need to Google Maps. I just let Google Maps be the brain for that.
Yeah.
And there's something about the brain having that spatial processing ability that I think if it's like a muscle, if you don't use it very often, you kind of lose it, right?
But then during that time when you're walking and not having to think about navigation, maybe you're thinking about like a genius idea or something.
Correct, yeah. So there's both pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
But I think as human beings navigating the world, we kind of need to have a better sense of space and direction then as then compared to just sitting in our laps here, sitting here and just using our laptops and all that, right? It's still a very big part of the world, right? So maybe it is worth like having a bit of a digital detox movement where we get students to really get away from their laptops and use pen and paper a bit.
Maybe like one day of the week in school, like no technology.
Yeah,
you become Amish. No tech at all. Or once a month or something. And maybe like as we all navigate this like whole move towards digital and all, which is inevitable, we need to just understand that all tech is not foolproof. And these kind of things are like, walao. Like I'm surprised there wasn't a better like backup process or backup habit, but I can also understand why for teachers who are already loaded with so much to remind the kids to back up is a whole other thing.
Yeah, and it's only, they've only been using it for like 4 years, right? Since the start of COVID. So it's still, in the larger scheme of things, it's still in its infancy, this whole process.
But for some reason, I thought like the younger generation, who grew up with like tech and media, I thought it would be second nature, like let's just back up. Back up this, back up that.
I don't think so, man. I think it's because they've grown into this world where everything just works, right? Apps just work, and your iPhone, everything does everything really. Like to them, it's like what? Whenever there's a problem, it's such a foreign thing to them, Whereas like we came out in the day when there was a lot of like IT, I need to call IT department to help you with this
I think even in the early days of Ministry of Finance, we used to prepare pitch decks on PowerPoint.
We still...
But Google Slides, it's Google like, Slides, you can collaborate. Right? But I remember like, if I do something, I'll email you, hey, Terence, you tweet. Then you open it, save it, and email it back to me. Then I think there was someone who said, just use Google Slides. We're like, oh, really? Then it made a big change.
Correct. But there are certain practices you learn from there also, right? The vulnerability of your data, like versioning up and all that. Even if you use cloud or that, even how you name your files is important. Be organized about it. So those are things I remember I did not practice all the way until I entered the workforce. And then in my first job, that was when I really understood like the importance of managing data properly and all that, right? I know you give me that look because like, I'm the last person you would think so. But at least at a very base level, not like I know you had a hard on for Evernote for the longest time, and then now Notion is your jam, right?
No.
So I'm against like overdoing it, but to a very, very basic level, I think it's important.
No, the reason I had that smirk is because you said, until I did the work, entered the workforce and everything. I'm like, hey, fuck you, okay? When we started Ministry of Finance, we used to hand each other editing, right? When you send me your editing file, I'm like, where's the file organization? What the hell is this? No folder structure. I have no idea how you edit. I have no idea what files you do.
Because it was important for me it took some time for me to learn how to translate my genius into a palatable thing for you. Of course.
Thank you, Terence. Thank you, Terence, for dumbing it down for me.
Correct, but that's it. That's it. A lot of times, whenever there's like IT problems in office, somehow I'm the one who has to come in and just switch it off and switch it on again. And then you'd be like, try it.
As much as I hate to admit it, there have been a few times where in my mind, I'm like, fuck. Because for most other like social circles or family stuff, I'm the IT guy. But I don't know, there's something in your orbit or something that just turns that off. And I fucking hate it. We're like, hey, Terence, the router's not working. Then you just go there, you turn off and turn on, and it works. And I'm like, shit. He's never going to let this die down.
But that comes from experience of being from this era where if shit doesn't work, just switch it off, smack it one time, and then switch it on again. And then then people forget that you just do that for your phones. If something's off, just reset
TV,
it.
Router, everything, just turn off. But like for some reason, like around you, just the thing switches off.
I know. There's also around you. Generally, I'm quite like digitally organized. Every time you come up with a new system, to me, it suddenly feels I'm learning a new language. I don't even know where to start. And then you're like raving about it and how great it is. And I
always have to write a white paper to get you to try something new.
Correct. But I try.
You try. You complain, but you try.
I complain, but I try. But I don't know. There are really like little things like that I think maybe need to be like the digital hygiene and all that needs to be incorporated into school systems.
It's like personal hygiene. Last time in primary school, we brush our teeth all, right? I don't know whether they do it now anymore.
They do,
They do, right? So part of it is like digital hygiene, digital safe practices and all.
Yeah.
Because
keep stuff in folders, don't take nude photos of yourself and things
Exactly. Yeah, stuff like that.
like that. Basic,
Yeah, basic.
basic stuff.
Basic stuff. There's stuff you back up on the cloud, stuff you don't back up on the cloud. Okay, you choose.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but it's not chalak, yeah.
Important.
Chalak. Important.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a very what do you call it? Very modern problem, right? That a first world country has, right? But there are also some people who still live in quite a bygone era of Singapore, where they actually live in a very kampong style kind of arrangement, where they actually don't lock their doors at home, and that has led to some problems in their estates. And who are these group of people?
It is this group of residents who stay along Holland Road, like areas like Mount Sinai and all, who said that they typically do not lock their front gate. So this is like landed homes lah. They don't lock their front gate. Even if they leave, they lock their house door, but they don't lock their gate lah. And some of them have been staying there for over 20 years, saying that the area has always been safe, and that like generally everyone kind of looks out for each other. But the reason why this came up is because there was an arrest of a burglar who targeted a few houses in that area, who is supposedly part of an international syndicate. And at first, when I read this article about, we don't lock our doors, I thought the burglary was like a small thing, but there was someone who was caught, and I think he stole like $250,000 worth of luxury goods and cash, and he hid it in a bush. And there's a video of him, and he looks like a freaking like hardcore criminal, the way he's like handcuffed and even the leg cuffs, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he brought the police back to the place where he put the loot. And then I was like, oh shit. I thought this was just like a small thing, but it is a bit scary. But are you surprised that there are people who don't lock their doors and all that in Singapore?
I mean, I think in landed property, a lot of times the gates are left unlocked, right? In fact, like I was at a friend's place not too long ago, and they said that his estate, like they don't even close the gates. They just leave the gates open so that the neighbors' kids or what, they can, when they're playing outside, if they're thirsty, they can run in together and then just get a drink from inside and then just run back out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
And it's not a gated community or something?
It's like landed property estate. Yeah. So, and there's not a lot of road traffic there, so I think generally people feel quite safe around there. But yeah, I think it's very common that people don't lock their gates in this kind of estates.
Yeah, I think so too as well. And I mean, when you think about it, right? Because like one thing that I enjoy doing like is near my house. There's like some landed houses
Yeah.
And like a lot of these are like old school houses that haven't been renovated. So very interesting architecture
You go there and
Yeah. So I'm like a creep I'll just walk by. I'm like, wow, look at this. Look at these houses and all. And sometimes I wonder, especially if you walk at night. I know it sounds like I'm a creep, but it's like if I'm running past or something, I do wonder like, at night, like a big house, it does look like a bit, I wouldn't say creepy, but it looks like it's so easy to break in. But I think Singapore, we take so many things for granted, right?
Yeah.
You can say we leave our laptops on our table, buy food. But yeah, for when it comes to homes, I totally can imagine a lot of people just being, we're safe, we don't get break-ins.
Yeah.
So what is scary about this is that there's an international syndicate.
Yeah.
And the person who was arrested is a Chinese national.
Yeah, correct.
Then it makes you think like, oh shit, it is literally a vulnerability of Singapore that has been spotted by an international syndicate who are now supposedly trying to exploit it.
Yeah. It's like they used to be trying to exploit Singaporeans via like scams, right?
Yeah.
Digital scams. Now
The
they brought it
digital
to
vulnerability.
now they brought it to the physical world, where they're robbing us and all. But it's a parallel to what's going on in the mobile garden thing, right? Isn't it?
That's why.
Yeah. Crazy.
And it's very scary because that is one thing that's awesome about Singapore. Complain what you want about Singapore and all. You can't deny that it's super safe.
Yeah.
And like you can leave your stuff. I mean, this one, a lot of it has been talked about a lot. But even homes, like even in like a HDB and all, generally you feel safe, right? But if there are people outside of Singapore who are looking at all our complacent asses and thinking, you know what, let's just they're like taking money from taking candy from a kid,
Yeah.
Right.
But it points towards Yeah, this international crime syndicate seeing that Singapore is generally has a very safe reputation, and people getting complacent about it, lah. Whether it's through their digital services or now even the way they don't lock their homes. I think it tells you something that all these crime syndicates are targeting Singapore and sending people here to do this, right?
Yeah, because like what you said is true. There was the scams, which is our individual digital vulnerability.
Yeah.
Then there is the monetary regulations for the money launderers to do, which is the regulatory vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Now, if it's the physical vulnerability, holy shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, do you think this would lead to, generally people being more...
Guns.
I was going to say, going to have their own militia in their own estates. Right?
Everyone taking MMA classes. You send your grandma for MMA classes. Or...
Yeah. How do you think this affects? I mean, because that's something that Singapore, we've gotten very used to as part of our social fabric of sort of like, the streets are safe. You don't have to walk. You can walk around 3 a.m. at night and not feel like unsafe.
Yeah.
You can leave your gate unlocked and nobody
even
will steal
HDB corridors, people leave their stuff outside.
Yeah.
Knowing that, okay, generally no one will take it unless some grab. Someone just walking around the corridor wants to do something to your cat or something.
Yeah. But does this worry you that all this changes the social fabric a little bit?
Well, yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Like, I think it's early, but I mean, okay, like but when they say also targeted by a syndicate, I mean, it's all based on like intel and all. But if it really is the case, I think that is quite scary. And like, if it leads to, like more and more stuff like this happening, then people start, it's like what's happening with the world, I learned at one point it felt like, oh, everyone is welcome in every country in the world. But the moment you realize, oh shit, there's people out there not up to no good, then you become a lot more protectionist.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, we close our borders, we don't. Then if it comes down on the individual level with homes and all that, wow, that's sad, man. Yeah. But for you?
I think it's important that Singaporeans are a bit more street smart about safety. I do feel that to our own detriment, maybe we take too many of these things for granted where, you don't lock your door, you don't, you leave your bag lying around, all that. Nowhere else in the world where this doesn't get punished. Anywhere else in the world you go, you leave your bag there to chop a seat, it's gone. You leave a valuable exposed inside your car, the window gets smashed. Like even the US, San Francisco, big cities also. In some ways, we are really, 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 really the exception, and in that sense, I think it's actually better for the population to be a bit more street smart about these things. I just heard too many instances of Singaporeans being overseas and getting scammed or getting robbed or just losing stuff because they didn't take care of it properly. Not saying that I'm like damn smart or anything. It's just that bad shit has happened to me while traveling before, like losing mobile phones and things like that. So I take these precautions more seriously.
But you think there can be a balance, like street smart, but still, let your kids play and have a gulp of water, or you think like they are mutually exclusive?
I think maybe a different kind of the truth is the kampong thing doesn't exist anymore already in Singapore. The idea of everyone staying kampong, I roll into your house, you roll into mine, that kind of thing. I think we need to find other ways for communities to gather, like third spaces. I think that term third spaces where aside from home and work, is there where else can you hang out, right? And I'm not talking about going to a bar or a club or anything. I'm talking about community spaces, even in this estate or something. Is there a playground with a lot of benches where people can sit there and hang out and all these things? Where if you want community, you can go there and find community. But if you want to be safe and private in your own home, you just stay at home, I think there aren't enough of those spaces in Singapore. They're just based on my own experience and talking to people as well. But I think those are important for fostering more community.
But then you can build a mall there, Terence.
Yeah, you can. But that's the problem. See, everything is so commercially driven that
Terence, we are a small island with limited resources.
Yes, correct.
The only thing we have is urban planning. And maximization of ROI.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I think that I only take issue with that last part, the maximization ROI. This third spaces things, the ROI cannot be measured.
It's social ROI.
Social ROI. Yeah.
But I mean, I do feel like, Oh yeah, I also feel okay. We don't really have the kampong spirit anymore, but don't know. Like it would be a pity if like we lose this safety. Of course, I think it can be street smart, but also need to protect like the general safety and like if other people are trying to expose our vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what is the solution. I don't think like the community, how you say, like police force and all that one is necessary.
Yeah.
But it's just to be aware that shit like this happens.
Correct.
Yeah.
But so you at home you just leave the door open, gate open, everything on.
I mean, we live in a HDB resale, right? So I would say if we're all at home, yeah, the gate will be open. Because I mean, like when people walking past, I mean, all our neighbors are super nice also.
Yeah.
And I would say that it's not like kampong. I can't just go into their house. But generally, there's a very nice vibe, and I like that.
I see.
I like that. Yeah. So if it becomes like, you come in, lock, close door, and all that's quite sad, lah.
But maybe that's just us getting old and pining for the past, right? Because one of the truth things is as a dad of a young kid now is that I think back in the day, like if you told your parents would just let you run out the house, go downstairs and play in the playground and all that, right? Nowadays, parents generally don't really do that already. They don't let the kids just run freely and do whatever they want and disappear for like a few hours and come back during dinner. Do you see that a lot? Like where a kid just shows up and then you're like, where your parents are and they're not around?
Yeah, I mean like not yet because I mean like I don't really interact with other people's kids. If that happens, I'll be like, that's be weird. But as I'm thinking about like when we are having our kid also, I mean it's how you say not say chicken and egg, but it might be something also that because like there's the reason why parents don't do that. I don't know whether it's being overly paranoid or overly protective. I don't know. I'll probably find out at some point.
Yeah.
But I agree, like as a whole, we don't do that enough.
But I'm not saying that we don't do that enough in the sense that we should do it more. I'm saying that just in general, people don't let the kids out and just go and fend for themselves much anymore. And it's something I think in the book like the Jonathan Haidt book about the coddling of American minds, right? He talks about letting your kid even walk home from school by themselves or walk to school themselves. That's not something that a lot of people do anymore, right? At least, I think he's talking about the middle class and all that.
But is he saying that has a consequence that is like that they're losing out on something?
He does say it has a very profound impact on not letting your children fend for themselves. Because I think he's a proponent for like if you need to let the children deal with their own playground problems. That means if they quarrel in the playground, you got to let them sort it out, and they will sort it out in some way, right? And it shouldn't be a parent having to step in every time or a teacher having to step in during recess and all that, So kids end up not learning how to emotionally or socially cope with a lot of these
confrontation,
conflicts with people and all that, So in some ways, not letting your kids run around freely or that actually contributes to that also. But the truth is also, I guess, just parents, because there's most people have smaller families now and all that, and their kids are so precious. They don't want any kind of harm to possibly come by the kid, so they watch over the kids a lot more in these.
Whereas last time it was like got seven
kids,
6. Okay,
6 came home for dinner. It was the last one. Okay, never mind. Eat first.
Yeah.
The kind of not It's just different times, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, this kampong spirit thing. I think very romantic ideal, but very, very unrealistic in today's environment.
But I think we should still aspire to have that sort of communal feel, right? You can still have your own spaces, but you can still have that camaraderie and all. I think last time also there was less stuff to distract you, right? When I was a kid, I used to call my neighbors, go down void deck, play football.
Correct.
Like if you're bored, you just call, want to play football, go down. Now like there's so many other things.
Playing Mobile Guardian, on their phones, or figuring out how the personal learning devices.
So I guess it's changing, but I think the scarier part is that people are watching, man.
Yeah.
Next time you leave your bag, there might be someone sitting there thinking, if everybody does this, if you wanted to have a syndicate for stealing things that people leave to choke tables, right?
You know, the
I think
chop syndicate.
I think for like 1 or 2 weeks, you can really get a lot of shit.
Yeah, you just go to every food court, you
and-
park yourself there for during lunchtime,
Yeah.
and then just wait for people to put their whatever cards and all those
Yeah.
umbrellas.
And then after 2 weeks, you just fuck off lah.
Yeah.
And you probably will have enough to be, decent for like 1 or 2 people, not enough to like raise alarm bells.
Yeah.
So many areas of vulnerability, man.
But that's why maybe like some people are quite creative with what they put down to chop seats these days, right? Like they will have expired like cards and stuff like that. So yeah, take the card, doesn't matter.
Take.
But if you just see the card by itself, it's like, oh, that looks quite like important and official.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just something for people to be more aware of. That I agree. That I agree.
Correct. But yeah.
But
shout
yeah,
out to all the residents. Hopefully they're not too traumatized by this event.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But cool. So talking about being traumatized by events, any one short comments that talk about how much they got traumatized by Yalabat recently?
Wait. You have yours?
I need to pull mine up.
Okay.
But it will generally be from YouTube,
Yeah.
Do you have yours ready?
I think just in general. Oh, someone kind of shared that. So someone shared just 4 hours ago on Reddit for the podcast with Tan Kin Lian about the still going strong issue of income insurance being sold off.
Yeah.
So someone spiritual-lie6289 posted, and they were basically working under Tan Swee Chie at NTUC. Who used to run Prudential. So they were just sharing their experience about how he created ex-Prudential products where we lower distribution costs under income, and just sharing his or her perspective about how the insurance sector has changed. And I mean, I think that and they also rebutted something that Tan Kin Lian said about selling more investment link products is the best sense, like how NTUC could do it. And I just appreciate that he actually he or she has the context of working in that area.
Yeah.
And I think that is what feels like it's lacking in the general discussion about this whole thing, about what is the reason why income insurance is so sure about this. And I know now certain people who have, even like people like Kelvin Cheng, who have been a big believer that, emotions do not count. Income insurance is just a for-profit company and we need to get over the emotional thing. Pointing out that in some way, like the PAP is also responsible for that tension. Because for the longest time, they have, you almost can't tell whether NTUC income or income insurance is part of the government, not part of the government. Like it feels like the line is a bit blurred. So I think just more info about the perspective from income insurance would be helpful, which right now is lacking. So this person sharing their own experience having worked there was much appreciated. What about you, man?
Mine was a comment from a listener about the Hukomping episode. He said, it's truly an enlightening talk show. Most didn't understand Hukomping of yesteryear and I didn't. So I put on my earplugs to listen to the dialogue. Kudos to Komping for his candid insights of his experience sharing. I am much older than Ho Komping, and he really articulated his thoughts with the right prompting from Yalabat hosts. I will pass this video to my kids and grandkids. Thanks. So, yeah, just nice message that listeners are passing over our podcast to the kids and grandkids, and ensuring that all generations get to enjoy Yalabat.
Oh,
very important.
All right, cool.
And yes, what is your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing was a trailer I saw. It is called this movie called Greedy People, which is coming out 23rd August, and it's basically like from the trailer. It is about two sheriffs, I guess, who work in like a small town, and it stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Himesh Patel. Himesh Patel was I think one of his last recent movies was when he was in that movie where what if you wake up and the Beatles, the Beatles,
yeah.
but
yeah.
the Beatles didn't exist. So he started singing Beatles songs and he became a global superstar.
Yeah.
So I just thought, basically it's about these two police officers who accidentally kill someone and find out that the person has a stash of money.
Yeah.
So instead of it was an honest mistake because the person attacked the police officer. They took the money and ran. So it just I always am tickled by movies like this that don't have big VFX and shit like that. It just seems like a good, funny story. It's only coming out 23rd August. So I don't know how it's actually going to be, but I thought the trailer was not bad. Yeah. What about you, man?
Cool. I also have something to do with a movie, but recently I've just been watching a lot of the marketing being done for Deadpool and Wolverine. I've already seen the movie, right? So now it's just enjoying the marketing side of things, and it's quite cool. They've been doing a lot of different things with Spotify. They pretended to be recording a podcast on Spotify. They did the songs together. And they even did something to do with The Bachelorette as well. It's on Ryan Reynolds' channels. Ryan Reynolds is posting a lot of these videos on his own YouTube channel, right? And then there's one that just a couple of days ago they did Hugh Jackman's acting masterclass video clip. It was quite funny and it's got 1 million views already. So I know that it's just quite interesting because they really bothered to do out of left field kind of marketing for a movie that a lot of people will watch regardless of the marketing already. Right? But it just adds to the overall feel of the show, really breaking the fourth wall. Which so I've been enjoying it quite a bit.
And what's been going viral online is also the auditions for the dance.
Oh the Deadpool dance,
which is quite funny. And I think Deadpool has that pool, people just want to be part of the story of it, because I think the guy who actually danced as Deadpool, he was just talking about how that whole process was, and he said his agent called him and he said, "Can you learn this routine? Send me a video. I can't tell you what, but it's huge." And he was like, "What the fuck?" And then he learned it, and then after that he got flown to try out, and then he saw the costume, and he said, "Oh my god!" So that's pretty damn cool.
You haven't seen it, right?
I haven't seen it, but I want to see it.
But that dance is a very crucial part of the story. Yeah.
Wow, solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, cool. This will be the final episode for the week.
Yeah, happy National Day, everyone. We don't want to be. We were thinking of doing an episode for National Day, right? But at the same time, I think it's a time for everyone to feel patriotic.
Yes.
And go out there and look at all the flags that are being hung outside.
Exactly. Yeah. And sing all the National Day songs, watch the parade, and bleed red and white.
And not hearing us complain about things in Singapore and all that again.
So thanks for listening, and we will be back next week.
Yes.
All right. Happy National Day, everyone.